how to release so that you can perform well. I'm Brian Hill with the Complete Combatant. This is number 5 of the Preparatory Cuing Index series to get you ready for deliberate coaching or inner game of shooting or my red dot class. And we have talked about to this point of always being ready to have posture, to let our eyes center, and to visualize not only what we're about to see, but what we're about to feel. The next part is crucial. All right, you will begin to struggle at this point. The struggle is whether can I trust my programming. That is always the struggle at the line. Okay, people that have very little faith in their intuitive recognition prime process will struggle to release at the line because they feel like if they make a checklist or they micromanage what they're about to do, that they'll come out better, despite everything telling them previously that that has not worked well. We see the shooter that shoots too slowly, 100% in accuracy and precision mode, and then they say, next time I'm just going to let go and shoot fast. So they adopt a different set of errors. They're always trying to micromanage what they're doing instead of trusting their program. So in order for the cycles of the brain to change into the flow state, we have to release the struggle. And that only comes from trusting yourself. You have to let go. There's a little dude bro in this one, all right? If you're going to surf a big wave, you're going to jump out of an airplane, you're going to take an MMA fight, you got to let go. You got to trust what you're about to doing. Because if you're micromanaging it and you're talking to yourself and you're critiquing yourself, you're creating a series of filters that slow down the action. And you're in the wrong part of the brain to do well, all right? It's as if you're not doing it, you're actually criticizing what you're doing. So what I need you to do is step up to the line and release. And you say, well, I'd really like to do that. It sounds like great information, but how do I get there? And it comes from breath, all right? When we breathe, it is the connection of mind and body. If your mind is tense, you'll hold your breath, all right? If you put a lot of tension in your body, you'll freeze up, you won't breathe, and you'll deprive the mind of oxygen. You must take a deep cleansing breath when you release, all right? So as I step to the line, my first thing was to be ready. I've created posture, I've settled my eyes, I've visualized, I have my kinesthetic index, and now I'm going to trust, so I release, and I do this. And now I shoot. And I trust myself because I've trained and I have a current level of skill that I've earned through practice. I'm accurate, I'm consistent, I'm efficient, I'm disciplined. I will accept whatever mistakes come my way because as a human being, I'm an imperfect vessel and I will make mistakes. I also know that I can correct mistakes because I will be the receiver of the information and I'm able to adapt, improvise, and overcome whatever comes at me. And that's what the release is about. It is to trust yourself, to let go, and to let yourself shoot. And afterwards, if it doesn't work out really well, we go back and we figure out what skills we need to work on, figure out how to program ourselves better, we figure out what was missing or absent in it, and what the conversation in the head that shouldn't be present. Remember, the voice in the head is not you. It is you've adopted this idea of talking to yourself instead of doing what you're doing. And one of the greatest joys in life is doing an activity that's so immersive that that voice is quieted. It no longer talks to you. And time speeds up and slows down. You have a greater sense of being alive and connected to the universe. You have a sense of control that shouldn't exist outside of this because you're totally engaged with what you're doing. And that's what release is about. I know it's not easy. You perfectionists, this is the one you lack. You got to let go, all right? Now, people that shoot really fast, you release sometimes without programming. So go back to the other video and make sure you have good programming. And you trust it a lot. You like to go do something, but make sure you programmed what you need to see, all right? These things can be done very quickly, you know? You can step up to the line, you can be ready, you can have good posture, you can settle your eyes, you can program yourself, and you can take a deep breath and relax. That can all be done together as you get better at it. But you're going to need to practice this, and that's why you have to dry practice and go to the range, because this sort of practice will lead you to the warrior's mindset, to the presence, to Zanshin, Anshin, and Munshin, which were philosophies of the Japanese warriors that allowed them to fight in battles and to be present. Remember, those warriors survived multiple battles, and their knowledge was passed on, and they were talking about this. We now have the science to identify the cycles of the brain waves that are happening, that are each of these states, and then also the hormones that are being released, the biochemicals that are changing the way we perceive stress and the way we react to it. It sounds like a good deal to me, but it does take work. It's not automatic. A lot of people try it once or twice and then abandon immediately, going back to their old habits. All right, and that is the definition of insanity. If it hasn't worked for you before, let's change it. Let's try something new. I want you to relax. I want you to release, and I want you to trust yourself. I would start with a very small thing at the beginning with this, and then make it into bigger and bigger goals. Don't go, I'm going to go to the match and relax and release, like Brian said. Go shoot a bill drill, shoot a 4 aces, shoot any standard that you feel is important, and see if you can do it in that. Okay, guys, this is important stuff. Passionate about it. I'm very serious about this. This is what's missing. And I hope to change people's minds, and I hope to change their performance and allow them to move ahead. This is something we had to really focus on in the fight game, because these are the things that make the difference to fighters. It wasn't just training, and it wasn't technique, and it wasn't strategy. It was who showed up at the fight. What we're influencing is who's going to show up and do the work. I'm Brian Hill with The Complete Combatant, and as always, measure, refine, and perform.